Welcome back, everybody! You're watching TTBurger Game Reviews here on YouTube, and I'm your host, Tony. We're back with another TTBurger Remastered Game Review, episode 17, part 2 of 5 parts of my Virtua Fighter franchise. We're continuing the month of Segatember for Sega Games Review all month long of September, as a part of TTBurger Segatember Extravaganza. Today we continue with my Virtua Fighter Remastered Series review. Last time we talked about Virtua Fighter 2, and we know how much of a flop that was with the overpowered AI and the difficulty being unbalanced and everything, and the controls being so stiff and everything. I do not recommend that game. But now we're going to zoom ahead to the year 2002, back when Sega abandoned the Dreamcast, and their games and consoles and franchises were going to be on other platforms here. And we got the next game in the Virtua Fighter franchise here, which Virtua Fighter 3 was only released on the Sega Dreamcast, and I don't own a Dreamcast, so I can't really review that game. If that game comes to the PlayStation Network store, I will review it in the future, but until then, we're going to take a look at the first Virtua Fighter game not on the Sega console, called Virtua Fighter 4, released first in the arcade in 2001. Then released on March 17, 2002 for the PlayStation 2. Then August 13, 2003, it was re-released as Virtua Fighter 4 Evolution as the Greatest Hits version. So last time when we looked at Virtua Fighter 2, we were in for a disappointment because of the problems with the difficulty and the controls and more. The future of Virtua Fighter was uncertain. Sure, Virtua Fighter 3 on the Sega Dreamcast was a success, being the last game in the series on a Sega console. After Sega abandoned the Dreamcast, Sega games were being developed on the PlayStation 2, Nintendo GameCube, and Xbox. When this happened, we were all really concerned about our favorite franchises being released on other platforms that were not a Sega console. Virtua Fighter was one of those franchises. So how did Virtua Fighter 4 turn out on the PlayStation 2? Well, Sega sure knew what they were doing because Virtua Fighter 4 is probably the best game in the franchise so far. I mean, we have not gotten to Virtua Fighter 5 yet, but Virtua Fighter 4 is definitely one of the best fighting games on the PlayStation 2. A lot of improvements over the last 3 games, mainly Virtua Fighter 2. Gone is the unbalanced gameplay and stiff controls that made you want to rage quit. Here we got smoother gameplay that makes it easy to pick up and play. Is Virtua Fighter 4 perfect? No, there are some small problems with it, but you'll find out right now what makes this game a must-buy. As we get started, we have some modes of play: arcade versus Kumaide, sparring, and more. I do wish we had a few more game modes here, but I guess we have to take what we can get. At least we still do have a handful of modes. Arcade and Kumaide are the main modes of play. Kumaide, you're probably wondering, what is that? Well, you face an endless number of challengers to improve your ranking, to make you stronger. Of course, it's not online, you face bots, and I enjoy it. The thing is with me, I do not play online. I was never a fan of it. I enjoy fighting against bots, taking on the same amount of fun as you do when playing online. For this review, I'll be playing once again as Sarah Bryant for the United States. Getting into the game, we noticed the graphics for its time look excellent. Sure, they may not look as good as like Tekken Tag Tournament, but they still look really good. The fire models have a lot of detail to them, like with their hair and facial expressions and more. The stages look great as well. Sure, some of them are repeats of the stages from previous Virtua Fighter games, but they still look great in my opinion. My favorite stage is Sarah Bryant's stage, which is no surprise there. Getting back into the game here, one main improvement is the controls. The controls have improved so much that takes away all the frustration and rage that you had from Virtua Fighter 2. The controls with the button layout is the same as last time, with triangle and X for your punch buttons, square blocks, circle kicks, and the shoulder buttons do the combo moves and more. Also, the opponent AI is more balanced too. Gone are the overpowerful opponents who would defeat you without blinking an eye. This time they give you a fair chance to win, even though at times they can still be cheap and defeat you. This does not happen as much as last time. There is not really any story here, but that's okay. Virtua Fighter was not known for story or anything. Fighting games do not really need a story like Tekken, Soul Calibur, or Mortal Kombat. There's a story in the manual, but that's for you guys to read and find out. The sound I've not talked about yet, so let's do that now. The voice acting is excellent. Gone are the actors trying way too hard to read their lines where it sounds scripted and forced. Here the actors do a much better job, and some of them speak in their native language once again. The best actress is Claire O'Connor, who voices Sarah Bryant in Virtua Fighter 4, who also voiced her in Virtua Fighter 3. She fits Sarah perfectly. It is a shame that she did not voice Sarah in the games after this. Music is good. Some of the music I was not a fan of, but I like it for the most part. The best song is from Sarah's stage. Sarah always had the best music in the series, and here it works really well for her. Virtua Fighter 4 for me is a must-buy for the franchise and for the PlayStation 2. We have not gotten to Virtua Fighter 5 yet, so I can't say it's the best one, but we'll see for sure when we get closer. There is also the Greatest Hits version titled Virtua Fighter 5 Evolution, also released for the PlayStation 2. This version has 2 new characters, new stages, and more. However, if you own the Black Label original version, just stick to that one. There is still plenty of content in the original version, so you do not need to go out and get this Greatest Hits version. And that's pretty much what we gotta say about Virtua Fighter 4. Before we can even give this game a score, let's go to our TTBurger pros and cons chart. For the TTBurger pros, Virtua Fighter makes its first appearance on the next generation consoles. This is also the first Virtua Fighter game on the PlayStation 2. Everything from the last 3 Virtua Fighter games is here and improved for the better. The controls are a lot smoother, making it easier to play. Opponent AI is more balanced where they are no longer cheap. Excellent graphics and sound for a PlayStation 2 game. The commodity mode is an excellent mode of play for newcomers and veterans of the series. Sarah Brighton's here once again for more Virtua Fighter action. For the TTBurger cons, the difficulty, while more balanced and better, is still a little rough around the edges. Not as many modes as other fighting games at the time. Some of the levels and music come off as generic. Virtua Fighter 4 Evolution is not worth buying if you already own the original version. But that's all the complaints I have with it though, and we have more pros and cons here, which is definitely a huge improvement over Virtua Fighter 2. Aside from the TTBurger cons that I have with the game, it's still going to be getting a really high score. I can't give it a perfect 10, but I can give it a score of 9.5 out of 10. It's an excellent game, definitely a huge improvement over the other 3 games, so if you can find this game on the PlayStation 2, definitely check it out, it's worth owning. And that's it for part 2 of my remastered series review of Virtua Fighter of TTBurger Remastered Reviews episode 17, part 2 of 5. Stay tuned, we're going to dive into the PlayStation 3 era of Virtua Fighter, look at Virtua Fighter 5, which was a launch title for the PlayStation 3. How does this game hold up to this day? Find out next, which all I gotta say is Tony, peace and out, have a good day and see you all in my review of Virtua Fighter 5, for my TTBurger Remastered Review episode 17, part 3 of 5. Take care everybody.